Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Qmenera, an Experience Points podcast. We're an all-queer cast Numenera podcast. I'm Kenny, the cast member who plays the lovable and simple lad Hillian. If you love our show, we hope you'll rate us and review us on iTunes or wherever you consume your podcasts. Every review makes Kelric, the GM and producer's eyes, sparkle, and helps new listeners to find us. Did you know that we had a Patreon? We are grateful to everyone who's already become a patron. You keep our mics on and our dice rolling. We've got some great rewards, so check them out at patreon.com/experiencepoints.
Be gay. Roll dice.
An LGBTQIA actual play podcast network.
Hello, everybody. I'm Kelric. I am the narrator for our Qmenera podcast. My pronouns are he, him. I remembered once again. I'm super excited. And today I am joined by my fabulous cast.
Hi, I'm Jess. My pronouns are she, her, and I play Tiyune, a mechanical nano who rides the lightning, and her pronouns are also she, her.
Hi, my name is Aaron. I use they, them pronouns. I almost forgot this time. And I play Railu, a graceful glaive who speaks with a silver tongue, and their pronouns are also they, them.
Hey there, it's Cage. I use she, her, hers pronouns, and I will be playing Charlie, the strong-willed nano who talks with to machines, and she also uses she, her pronouns.
And I'm Kenny. I use he, they pronouns, and I play Hillian Jossa, an earnest Jack who howls at the moon. He uses he, him pronouns.
Wonderful. And I believe today Kenny and Jess will be doing the recap as Hillian and Tiyune.
Yeah, so we woke up in the morning over at Gesten's house, and there was a really good breakfast going. I think Tiyune got up and started cooking, and it was wonderful. But then there were a lot of words going about and things needing to get done. And Railu came in and then left quickly. I think there were some chores that needed to be done, and they were just doing what they normally do, which is just kind of disappear at that. But Tiyune really didn't let that happen. Well, Gesten stepped in and they had more conversations, and we were sent to a marketplace. We had to go to some place to find something, and we went, and there were lots of really cool things, flashy things, lots of Numenera, really cool Numenera, and this person was kind of interesting. Well, anyway, they gave me a gift. It was a cool bracelet-looking thing. I like it. I liked it a lot. But Tiyune was suddenly very frustrated, and so we left. And after we left, we were kind of going to go back to Gesten's, but then I smelled something so delicious that we had to go and get it. And so I got a sample of it, and the person who gave it to me was super nice. And I asked Tiyune to get it for me, and she did. She got me some wonderful things, and then we went back to Gesten's house.
At Gesten's house, after Railu once again made themselves useless, I tried to keep Hillian distracted. Gesten came out with another mission from the priesthood. Apparently there's a map going about that leads to a place that can make unlimited Numenera, and we suspect it's probably the place that we ended up outside of Edalali's village. This map in the wrong hands could be very dangerous, so we went to Gesten's contact, Milnew, who owns sealed ciphers, to try to find this map. Milnew told us that it was with someone named Mom, who hangs out at the Murden at midnight. So we're going to try to find the map and I guess give it to the priesthood, even though I don't trust them with it either. Railu did, for once, make themselves useful by finally showing just how they charm people. Railu provided a substantial bribe to the guard who thought that I was someone else to get them off our tracks. So I guess it's not so much charm as it is money, but we'll see how many shins they have left after that.
Perfect. Okay. So you were going to head to the Murden at midnight, and you were not going at midnight, obviously. That's just the name. And that won't be confusing at all later. Perfect. Well done. And you were going to head out in the early evening when it opens. It's in the north end of Ephremon. I'm going to assume that you have done everything that you wanted to do in the meantime. It's early evening, and let's check in with Hillian real quick. How is he feeling? How is he feeling right now?
Hillian's really hungry. Yeah, I just want to eat, and I'm getting restless and a little angry.
Yeah. I feel like your skin would just feel kind of like it's itching right now. Like you're.
Yeah, Hillian's definitely just uncomfortable, and it's like I think he tries to hide it. Like he might be scratching, but he's like a little kid when someone like looks at him, he just stops and freezes.
Okay, super cool. And Tiyune, you and Hillian have been through this before. How is that going for you, knowing that you're about to leave because you have to go do something?
Well, Tiyune has, like she normally does, has tied Hillian to her with her unbreakable scarf. And she also has a set of shackles in her bag. She's very nervous about this and is wondering if she should leave Hillian behind, but also doesn't want to leave Hillian just with Gesten when she doesn't trust him. So she's going to risk it. She's going to risk everyone in this town rather than leave Hillian with an unknown.
Don't pretend that's not on brand.
I would never pretend that. Like, it makes so much sense for Tiyune. That's why she's doing it. She does also have just like an seemingly endless like stream of snacks that every time like Hillian kind of starts to tug a little bit on the scarf, like he's getting restless. She's like, "Oh, here, have another of those mushrooms that you like. Have another thing. I just have this whole bag full of snacks and shackles."
Mary Poppins of snacks.
I also feel like
and restraints.
As well, that sounds on brand for Mary Poppins to me for some whatever. I did read those books when I was younger. Very different from a movie. I feel like as the evening goes on, the snacks become less satisfying, and Hillian is a lot more easily distracted by scents, perhaps less interested in the non-meat products you have. So the snacks become a little bit less effective as the evening goes on. And how about Railu? Railu's been through this before, and how is Railu feeling about this whole plan that is about to unfold?
Railu's definitely nervous about this. So, I mean, they've definitely already pulled Qmen aside and we're like, are you sure this is what we should be doing right now? I know that we have to go get this map, but I could just go, or I'm sure Gesten has other contacts. We shouldn't be taking Hillian out like this.
Well, I mean, I'm not going to leave Hillian alone with Gesten, and I don't trust you to do this alone. I don't know why I paused, like I was going to try to like flower my words up. You know how I feel about you.
You know how you talk to people. Railu just rolls their eyes and says, well, if you insist on coming, you're the only one that can keep Hillian calm anyway, but you're responsible for this.
Yeah, I know.
And Railu will pat the one of their razor rings on their side and just say, make sure you come armed. From what I've been told, this place isn't as nice as everywhere else you've stayed before.
Yeah, I was there at the shop where Molyneux told us what we were walking into. I'm not expecting this to be nice.
And then Railu will walk off and just muttering about how Numenera wielders are just so stuck up and they are super always about really nice locations, and Tiyune's just not ready for this.
Why don't we do a real quick recap of what your connections are to each other as far as Hillian is concerned?
Yeah, I think the only thing that I have is that I know that Hillian needs to eat meat during transformations or he's going to suffer some really bad effects.
And it's like a lot of meat, like a medium creature size worth of meat.
Yeah.
One human.
Roughly.
Mine is specifically that I can calm Hillian down and like bring him out of his transformation.
Right, you're the Black Widow to their Hulk without the romantic overtones.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Perfect. You all are going out with a Hillian at night on day 1. Day 1 of 5.
I mean, what better to have a giant wearer beast in your back pocket when you're going to get something you need?
All right. You all head off, and you find the Murden at midnight pretty easily. You have a map, and you've been told where to go. You're fine. As you approach it, the Murden is a medium-sized structure within the roots of the ester trees that the city of Ephremon is built around and on. The entrance is this cave-like hall that leads you into a very spacious bar. You look around, and while the bar is a really good size, it's challenging to get a clean line of sight anywhere because you have these large tree roots blocking your sight in a lot of directions. So there's definitely places for people to hide. There is a central area that is a bar built around a main tree root that is very cleverly designed with all of this nano sort of tech-like light structures built around it, and actually carved into the root are places for they're little alcoves for intoxicants, and it's got this fantastic number and kinds of bottles filled with liquids, gases, and other intoxicants. Anything you can really think of is sort of spaced around, and so it's really colorful and bright right there in the center with a bar around the outside edges of that. There are bartenders and bouncers evenly spaced around the bar and common area to prevent any misunderstandings with the patrons. And there is a sign that reads, "Any violence perpetrated on the premise constitutes a violation of your right to exist" policy. So it's posted at equal intervals all around the bar space so that there is no mistaking what is at risk should you decide to break their rules. And when you enter the bar space, to the north is a stage that is currently empty, but there are a few performers getting ready to go on stage. And to the south is a very small kitchen space with some amazing smells. Some small tapas-like dishes are going out with servers who are very efficient and appear discreet. That's where you all are. You have been sent there to find someone named Twom, and as you look around, can I get some perception from everyone? Hillian is at disadvantage.
Already? That's how we're going to start off the day?
Yeah.
A 1?
Perfect. Oh, this is brilliant.
You also want me to roll one?
No, you will be coming in without one. That's okay.
So does that mean the difficulty level's upped on mine?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
That's what disadvantage does.
Yeah, I too have a 1.
Y'all!
For those of you who don't know,
I feel like you just walked into like a dark place after being outside and your eyes are like adjusting to being able to see.
Little did we know tonight was the one-night murders allowed at the murder.
Amnesty night. Wait. For those of you who don't know, when a player rolls a 1 in Numenera, it allows the narrator to put in a free GM intrusion, which means I don't have to give experience points for any intrusion I feel like giving. The players have rolled 2 1s, which means that should they decide they don't want the intrusion, they each have to spend experience point, and they have to agree to do so.
Can I suggest a GM intrusion?
Certainly.
The secureness of the scarf is not super secure.
Why? Why would you do this?
Hillian is more wiggly than normal and more shifty than normal and super agitated. Do you accept this?
No, not yet. I am at.
Is anyone going to turn down or spend experience to turn it down, though?
Well, so that's where we're at. I'm looking at, so Tiyune, for Tiyune, do you want the GM intrusion, or do you want to pay not to?
Can I wait to see what it is first?
Sure. In your case, talk to me about things that Tiyune is, because I would like to know what are things that Tiyune is not good at in particular, besides
Anything to do with
deception.
Don't say.
like literally charm, deception, and persuasion are all negatives for me.
Also, exciting news while we're filling this empty airtime. This will be my last level up, so I will actually be a tier 2 glaive after this session.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah, fancy.
Nice.
All right. As you walk in, I think a guard will accost you. And in your case, they're going to see all of the nanotech on you that in your case is very, very visible. And they are going to demand to frisk you and make sure that your tech is not hostile. They have a set of Numenera dampeners that they are going to insist on putting on you for the duration of your time in the bar, because you don't seem trustworthy. And why is this person tied to you?
So is that something that like if I don't spend the experience point, like it'll just automatically happen, or is it something that we can like I can role play it out and try to get them to not do it?
Anytime there's an intrusion, there is an opportunity for you to, if you fail, it could perhaps be something that goes against the bar policy. Who knows?
Well, I obviously don't want this person touching me. And I also don't want my Numenera to be dampened. So I'm going to say, no, thank you.
Okay. So remove an experience from your...
Oh, no, I mean like the person I'm going to say no, thank you.
Oh, so you're going to accept it then?
Yeah.
Cool. All right. So the guard is kind of lanky and almost like their limbs almost remind you of like an insect. They look sort of human tangent. Like they're not quite human looking. Like there's something about them that seems off. If you want to do a quick perception check, let's see if you get any information from that. Oh yeah, you can tell this person is definitely a mutant. You don't know what their mutation is, but it definitely makes them a little bit more, it's more obvious why they are a bouncer sort of character than just some random guard. Listen, lady, this is how it is. You either put these on or you leave. And what's with this binding thing? What is this?
Haven't you ever seen a parent leash their child so they don't wander off?
Juna, I'm hungry.
Yeah, and she'll just like dig a piece of beef jerky out of her bag and like hand it over.
And Hillian will grab it, take a bite of it.
This person's gonna look at the two of you and like, I do not believe this is your child. What?
I never said that he was my child. I was asking, hadn't you ever seen that before?
Yeah.
Tiyune.
No. This is weird. This is what these binders do. They will stay on until you walk out the door. I will take them back. While you were in here, this will dampen any Numenera you have on you.
Well, I'm not putting them on.
And I'm going to require you to hand over any ciphers you can check over there.
I'm obviously not going to do that.
Why are you being so mean to Tiyune?
Listen, you all can leave or you can follow the rules. This is how it is. And you can roll to persuade if you want, or you can come up with some tact to get them to change their mind.
I mean, persuasion isn't her strong suit, so she's just gonna say like, well, I'm not gonna put them on, so either you let me pass or I guess I'll leave, and I guess I'll roll persuasion.
Okay.
Hillian actually has is trained in persuasion, or it's not. Yeah. So Hillian's going to help.
Ooh.
Okay. Let's see what you got.
And what's the thing for this?
Let's see what you roll, and I'll let you know whether you pass or not.
How do I know whether or not to? Okay, I'll play after again.
I'm amazed that Hillian is trained in persuasion.
Right?
Nice.
Oh, yeah. The person, they look at you and they're like, listen. And they look around and they're like, I can be persuaded to not let these binders go on you, but if my boss finds out, I could have some problems, and I think it's worth some compensation.
Don't let your boss find out.
Way to not let my boss find out is not let you in. If you want to come in, maybe there's a way to do some business here. And they just give you that look that this is how things are done.
We found some really good mushrooms in the market.
They don't even deign to pay any attention to you. They're just looking very late. And what's Railu doing while all this is going on?
I feel like Railu went inside. Honestly, I mean,
sounds about right. That would explain why Tiyune's on their own to figure this out.
Yeah.
And they're just waiting. Are you?
Oh no, I'm totally doing stuff. I was just letting the scene play out.
Okay. So this person is looking at Tiyune. Is Tiyune gonna play ball or not?
Tina's gonna try to like brush past them to get inside.
All right.
Like she's basically just gonna like be like, cool, we're done then, I guess. Like not trying to hit them or anything, but just be like, cool, so we did it. I'm going in and you're not putting the dampeners on me.
Okay. Give me a speed roll.
It's a 12 for the audience.
Yeah. Okay. Oh yeah, the last one was a 14. So yeah. Yeah. Okay. You get past them, and they feel like if they make a big stink about it, then their boss is going to. It's going to be bad. So they're just. Tiyune's the worst.
I love Tiyune as Aaron.
Just the worst. Cool. Y'all get inside, and Hillian, you get dragged inside. It's still early, but you take in everything, and you see the kitchen space. And
if the bouncer had like a tip jar or something, I think Hillian would have thrown in like a mushroom or two.
no, but they did have their hand extended, so sure, you put a mushroom in their hand.
Yep.
All right. And
they're really good, I promise.
So, Tiyune, is Tiyune going to? Where is Tiyune going once she gets inside? Is she going to go catch up with Railu? Is she going to look around and try and go somewhere different? What is your plan once you get inside?
Once inside, she is going to try to spot Railu and then try to look for a table where she can take Hillian and just start like ordering some food for him.
Okay. So as you are looking around, Hillian, the scarf, because of this, how quickly Tiyune was pushing past and everything that was going on, yeah, that scarf unties from you. And Hillian is in this space, untied. And what does Hillian do?
Hillian still follows. I mean, like just out of habit, like Hillian will be behind Tiyune, but the fact that he's no longer leashed, is noticed
by Hillian. The intrusion is not noticed by Tiyune, nor is it noticed by Railu, because y'all are looking at other things. But
I'm busy.
Exactly. So you come in and you sit down, and you're placing your order. Where is Railu going? Are you joining at the table? Where are you going?
Well, so Railu, because they went on ahead, they went up to the bar, ordered the drink, and started scoping the place out, which is why I'm assuming I rolled a 6. But they know the seedy underbelly. I mean, that's kind of their shtick. So they're going to start talking up the bartender and see if he knows any rumors about a guy named Twom, or a person named Twom.
Okay. They're going to keep their head down and say, that depends on what it's worth to me to know anything.
What's your finest drink in the house?
And they point up to a bottle of liquor that is like the top of the top shelves that are carved out of the tree root. It's this bubbling purple liquid in a very large glass jar.
How much?
As you say that, they point to an area on the bar that is like a built-in Numenera thing that goes all the way around the top of the bar, and it's just got drinks and pricing, just sort of scrolling around. It's almost like when you go to a sushi plate, one of the sushi conveyor belt things, and the sushi's going by. It's pictures of the bottles with prices next to them going by, and they stop it, and it's at this one, and it is 25 shins a pour.
Cool. Yeah, Riley can always make more money. I'll order one for myself.
Okay. So yeah, they will go up and grab it down for you, and they'll.
Cool. So I take a sip, and I am going to scope out the bar, or the I'm going to scope out the scene, and I want to see what the dynamics are. Like, are there very obvious groups? Are there a lot of like stragglers? I just want to scope it out, see what's going on.
Yeah. So you spend some time looking around, and in the areas you can see, there are definite sort of groupings of people, and each one is very clearly delineated. Like, there is a separation between all of them, and some of them have more bouncers / guards around them than others. Like, maybe someone's prepared for trouble and somewhere they're not, or they're less prepared because they're not as worried, and those groups tend to be a little smaller. Looking around, you see multiple places where there are opportunities to potentially talk to people.
Do I see Twom, who is tall, wears an eye patch, and has a Numenera arm, which is what I have in my notes? It sounds kind of stand out.
You don't, especially not rolling a 6, interestingly. You do see Tiyune, and you see one of those larger groups with someone who is staring at you. Next to them, sitting down, whispering in their ear, is a guard that looks familiar to you. Yeah.
I mean, oh, go ahead.
And you realize that Marvel, the person that you bribed and who appreciates you so much, is pointing at you without pointing at you, and talking to this person about you. And as you look around them, you see that they have, several. As you look at them, you see that they have a reasonably large entourage of 8 or 9 people around them. Several of them are what you would feel are general low-level criminals, people you would have interacted with at that level quite often. And then you can see that they have like a couple of higher up advisors. And as you're looking at them, you see one who is listening and paying attention to everything and looking at you. And she seems curious, but more about wondering why this guard is talking to you. And Cage, why don't you describe what this person looks like?
So Charlie has what do they call that? Like coveralls, like the mechanic jumpsuit kind of thing going on, but it's like unzipped from like the waist up and like tied around her waist, and she's got this very like grimy looking shirt. It's clearly got some like kind of grease stains, and there's like a tear in the shoulder a little bit. Clearly she has done some work in these. Her hair is long, but it's like up in a bun, and instead of like a pencil that would be like holding it there, it's like some sort of like tool or like screwdriver that's like holding it up for her. And her face also has some of those kind of smudges across her face. It's clear that she doesn't care so much for what her appearance looks like, and that she does a lot of hands-on work.
Okay. Yeah, and so you see this person also staring at you, and seeing Marvel is the only person in here you actually know, and they're obviously pointing you out to this person. It's up to you. Do you want to approach them? Do you want to gather Tiyune and Hillian to approach them, or do you want to do it on your own? Do you want to ignore them?
Oh, no, okay. So Railu is a performer, so they're used to people like pointing them out and being like, oh, that's the performer in town. But they have not done a show here yet, so that is not what is happening. However, Railu prefers these types of people. Like this is their group, and especially because they're playing valet for Tiyune, this is where they're going to solidify that belief. So they're going to approach and hold up their drink and what's his name? Marvel, is it?
Mm-hmm.
And say, "Evening, Marvel. You wouldn't expect someone like you to be in such a place like this."
I was gonna say the exact same thing. I can't believe it. And real quick, you have done one performance here where, remember you did the street busking thing and you had a couple, so you did impress a couple of people, so it's possible you have a reputation. Not likely, but possible.
There's nothing.
So Marvel's like, I was thinking the exact same thing, which is why I was pointing you out to my friend here. What brings you to the Murden?
And Riley will lean just a little, not like in their space, but just a little, puts their arm on the table and leans in a little bit and goes, "You know how it is with these rich folk. They like to come to places that can rough up their very refined edges. So I come to make sure that everything goes smoothly. But also," and then Riley will yell, or like not yell, but loudly we'll say loudly to the group, "These are my people. You know, this is why, this is where I thrive." So I'm not yelling in the middle of this bar, but I definitely said it loud enough to where it wasn't such like a private thing.
Wow. Okay.
"How do you do, fellow criminals?" Yeah. To be fair, Rylu's literally a criminal.
Yeah.
Rylu's a showman. We all know this.
Marvel is very taken aback, and they look at their friend, and everyone around you is just staring at you like, what the hell is happening here? But then Marvel says, "I'm sorry, I haven't done introductions. My apologies. Railu, this is my acquaintance Wither. Wither, this is Railu. They work for the person I was telling you." And Wither looks you up and down, and Wither is a kind of bulky, just sort of medium-sized, average-looking person. They have sort of ruddy-colored skin and almond-shaped eyes. They seem like someone you would overlook, but if for some reason they caught your attention, you'd be able to tell this is someone who's dangerous, but who prefers to send somebody else in to do their dirty work. Like you can just tell this is a boss. This is not someone who you really want to just mess with. And Wither looks you up and down and says, "We really prefer to keep things a little quieter than that."
Can I roll a perception check on Wither real quick? I want to see, I'm specifically looking for any type of distinguishing mark that I would know for like a rogue. So like knife scars from fights, or perhaps a brand from when they got caught robbing or something like that.
Yeah, go for it.
Okay, and I'll use, that's not right. I will use some effort because we all know I have the Will Wheaton curse. Ooh, how about a nat 20?
Nat 20. With Wither, you don't see any sort of marks like that. Like, you can tell that they have augments. They're very, very subtle. They're not like Tiyune's at all. Like, Tiyune has stuff like all over their skin that you can sort of see. Not this person. This person has, it's almost like stuff underneath their skin, but you are looking closely enough that you can tell that they have been upgraded in certain ways, and you see nothing of any sort of damage on them, but then you can't see under their clothes, and their clothes are a much higher quality than you would anticipate, especially seeing Charlie next to them. And with your nat 20, you can tell that Charlie is also one of the people to be paying attention to at this table. There's Wither, who's in charge, and then Charlie is almost their right-hand person. Like, they are, the way their body language is set up is if something starts to go south, Charlie's the first person that Wither is going to be bringing in with them. You can see that the two of them have this sort of understanding of how things are going to work. I don't think there's anything else really to know about as far as Wither is concerned. You do see, actually, I take that back. You do see some scars specifically on the back of their hands and in between their knuckles, and those look like just from standard fighting and maybe getting cut, but otherwise they are totally clean.
So I have a major effect, and can I bank that, or do I need to use that immediately?
You need to use it.
Okay, so if I need to use it immediately, I want Wither to be like charmed, almost like fairly charmed, not in like a weird romantic way, just like, hey, this is someone of note.
So for a major effect, I'm gonna actually say in this case, since what you were doing was perception.
Oh, that's fair.
I want your major effect to have something to do with your perceiving something about the room.
Okay, so I want there to be something, so because I'm looking at Wither, I'll frame it as there was something reflective behind them. And not only was I able to see, I want to see all the various exits in the room, and depending on what you consider a major effect, also maybe catch a glimpse of who we're here to see.
Okay. You can see all of the exits, which for this particular bar is really challenging because, as I said, there's lots of stuff breaking things down. And I think for the rest of it, there is an element that I'll bring in later so it's almost like banking, but I'll bring it in at a point when it's relevant.
Cool.
Yeah.
I will lower my voice a little bit and just say, sorry, I didn't realize I was in the company of such royalty, essentially. And then I will defer away from them and look over back to what is his name? We were just Marvel. Look back to Marvel and say, well, of course I have to get back to my leash, but here, and have what you can. She keeps the purse strings tight, and I slide over the rest of my 10 shins onto the table.
Yeah, they take it, and Wither actually intercepts and says, I have Marvel. Why don't you invite your liege over? And let's have a conversation.
Wait, so am I keeping my 10 shins, or does that stay on the table?
Yeah, they are stopping you from passing it under the table, like they can tell what's going on. And they're like, you just hold on to that. We got this. But why don't you invite your boss over, because I'd like to talk to them, is what they're basically saying.
So I'll palm the money and let it dramatically tinkle back into the purse, because it's only 10 shins, so it's not a lot.
There's super drama around 10 shins.
Oh, yeah. And then just say, my boss isn't as great with words as I am, but perhaps I can see if they will beg an audience of you. And I will.
Oh, they're not begging an audience. I am requiring one.
And then I'll turn around and walk away. Respect is earned, even by Railu.
Oh, 17-year-olds. Okay.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
You head over to Tiyune, and what are you doing?
I'm going to sit down and just start taking my drink. Oh, hey, Tiyune. How's everything going? How's Hillian doing?
Where have you been?
You were late getting into the bar, so I took the time to get myself a drink and make an acquaintance.
Well, anyway, things are fine, I guess. Any sign of Twom?
I haven't found Twom, however, who I'm pretty sure is the leader of the rogue down here, is sitting over the table and wants your audience. I told them that if they were so lucky, they might get one. Marvel is over there and thinks that Marvel is over there and, of course, didn't keep his mouth shut, so they think that you're that person.
I thought Marvel knew that I wasn't, and that's why we bribed him.
No, Marvel still thinks you are. We paid him to think that you were using a alias.
Like, they think you're someone very important. They just don't think you're who you claimed you were.
Perfect.
So of course we paid him to keep his mouth shut, and he didn't. But essentially, you have been granted the presence of the rogue lord. It's up to you to take it or not. I don't care one way or another. It's catty.
is it up to me, or will we get kicked out of here if we don't go?
I mean, I'll be fine, and I'll, I'm shy. You can hold yourself in a fight.
And Tina just points at one of the signs, because there's probably one like right over her shoulder that's like, "Don't fight or you get killed."
Oh, the rogue wouldn't be so unintelligent as to start a fight here. It would definitely be when we leave.
Yeah, I feel like you're really understanding the point that I'm making. So, yeah, let's just go.
Lead the way.
How can I lead the way? You know where we're going.
I waved you in the. You saw who I was talking to, did you? Oh, you didn't know. You didn't see it at all. Oh god. And Railu dramatically turns around and walks back and goes, "My leash has granted you a presence," and then waves Tuna up.
Don't call me that, is what you start with. And then looks at the table and the people around it and says, oh, go ahead.
As you look around, you and Charlie have a brief moment there. Roll a perception check real quick. Yeah, you know each other. You just have that moment where the two of you make eye contact. You have a small history together. How do you react, Charlie, when you see Tiyune walk up, when you're expecting this noble of the city, or a person who claims to be a noble of the city, on the down low?
Charlie definitely does a double take because she is not anticipating that Tiyune is going to be the one that's going to be coming up to the table. Like when you can see the questioning in her face as she like looks at Tiyune, like her brow furrows, and she's like, Tiyune? And is very like taken aback, and you can see the gears turning in her head like, wow, a lot has happened since we last saw. If you are like this noble person that they're claiming you to be, you can kind of just see the wheels turning, but she's sort of speechless in the moment, other than like, Tiyune, is that you?
So you would know that there is no way, Charlie, you know there's no way Tiyune is the person they're claiming, because you know them. If you say Tiyune, what does Tiyune do?
Tiyune sort of like raises her eyebrows and looks very surprised, but just says, Charlie, wasn't expecting to see you here.
Well, I could definitely say the same for you. How did you get to be an Ephremon?
That is a long story, and maybe a somewhat private one, she says, and raises her eyebrows ambiguously.
So out of character, in order to do like the conversation with Tiyune through our minds, or like through machine or whatever, I have like talks to machines, and obviously she's like also a nano. Is there like a thing that...
Let's describe for the audience who your character is real quick, as far as their description and what that gives you. Then we'll get back to this, okay? Charlie is a what? What is the character description?
Yeah, so Charlie is a nano who talks to machines, and essentially what that allows her is, so she has a lot of different skills related to machinery and mechanical type things. So she has training and like abilities with involving like electrical machines, and the nano background is psionics, which also allows her to then have like more of an effect on like machines and machinery, as well as kind of does some interplay with like nanites and things like that within like the environment around her.
Mm-hmm.
And so she's able to have like a particular connection with different types of like mechanical objects.
Yeah, and so Charlie's descriptor is a strong-willed nano who talks to machines. What does the strong-willed do for you?
Okay, so the strong-willed part actually gives her like a lot more, mechanically speaking, gives her a lot more to like her intellect pool.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's like a huge part, but that's also where she gets like a lot of focus when tasks, as well as she can resist she's trained in resisting mental effects.
Okay.
And so she has a lot of different things related to intellect because of the strong-willed part.
Okay.
while she has like that willfulness, there are some things that she's not so great at. So there is some like kind of like things along problem solving and things like that that she is not as skilled in. But essentially it increases like that intellect piece.
Okay. In order to talk with machines, is that something you have to activate? Or is that just something you get?
So I think the major part that comes with the talks with machines is I think that's where she gets the distant activation from.
Okay. So
I'm remembering correctly.
The way I would like this to work is Tiyune has described how they have built themselves is as they interact with Numenera, they sort of make it a part of their body. Since they have all of these mechanical parts that have attached them, and one of them in particular in the story makes this possible, which was they had a language graph that they used earlier on, and they had the opportunity, based on a really good roll, to make it a permanent part of their body, and they did. So there is a machine that is actually attached to their brain that allows them to comprehend a specific language. Since Charlie can speak to machines, I think that using your psionics and your particular background, you are able to connect with that Numenera piece specifically to be able to talk to Tiyune psychically. And so the two of you can have the equivalent of what is a 5-minute conversation in the span of seconds that nobody else can hear. If you want to do that, you can do that right now.
Yeah, so I think that she will kind of do that because Charlie's really confused as to like what is going on and isn't sure what would be like inappropriate to say out loud in front of the company present, because she doesn't know everybody who Tiyune is traveling with. And obviously the folks that she's with while she's like with them, they're also part of like a thieving kind of, you just don't know what might be taken the wrong way. So she'll definitely make that connection with Tiyune. And so through the machine, we'll continue to ask like those questions. Like, I haven't seen you since Ashar, like what's going on? Like, you're not who they're saying you are, and things like that.
Go for it. Yeah, do it.
Tiyune, again, like psychically not out loud, will respond. Yeah, it's a really long story, but basically it comes down to this person next to me who just cannot stop lying. And there was some
Charlie will probably look over at them, like, and then look back.
And there was a misunderstanding when we were trying to get into the city, and now people think that I'm, I don't know, like a noble or something, but we've been using it to our advantage because, again, long story, and I know we haven't seen each other in a long time, but I could use your help on this. And if you just keep this information hidden and don't let on that I'm not who they think I am, maybe I can find you something useful for your machine tinkering.
Like her eyes like light up at the idea of having something new to tinker with, and she thinks back to the time that Tiyune and Charlie had spent together, and so definitely interested in whatever interest Tiyune has. And so Charlie will say like, yeah, like absolutely, like whatever you need, I can definitely continue whatever this facade is that you're noble within the area, but definitely interested in whatever you might have as well.
I've come across some interesting things lately that we can talk about after all of this is done. I'm looking for someone named Twom. Have you heard of them?
And would I have heard of Twom?
You know that Wither had been approached by someone named Twom looking to sell the map, and Wither, it's part of why you've been brought on board.
Okay.
Is if this is a place to make Numenera, you are their person, because of this ability you're using right now, your ability to talk to machines at a place where you can build Numenera, would be priceless. Absolutely priceless. So 3,000 shins is a lot for anyone, which is why this map is still on the market, and you and Wither would have a way together to contact this Twom person. So yeah, you absolutely know.
Okay. Charlie would message Tiyune and say, yeah, Tom's mostly the reason why I'm here as well. Wither, who I'm here with, has been contacted by Twom, and I think at this point Charlie's probably unsure like how much information to give out to Tiyune, because while she trusts her, she also doesn't really know like exactly what Tiyune is doing here, and like that's also 3,000 shin, right? So like there is some like personal gain here as well for Charlie, and and while they have history, it's not strong enough to just like relinquish all information that she might have.
That's fair.
I would like to offer a GM intrusion at this point between the two of you. Do you want to accept it, or do you want to say no? And this is one where I'm not going to give you the option of knowing in advance.
I have no extra XP to expend because I spent it.
Okay.
Do
it pay to stop it, or do it let it go?
Chaos.
All right, so with that, we will stop for today. Thank you all so much. I'm Kelrick. I'm on Twitter at Cormelon or at EQ Points, and expect a whole flood of episodes coming out very soon, so everyone will be caught up real quick. This has been super fun, and yeah, on to Jess.
I'm Jess. You can find me on Twitter at WriteJessR. That's WriteJessR. You can find, all of the stuff that I do on my website, writejess.com, instead of listing it all. All of my adventures on DM's Guild and Drax RPG, all of the different podcasts and streams I do.
I'm Aaron. You can find me at Space Persona on Twitter.
Cage, I've been playing Charlie. You can find me on Twitter at RageCageRugger. That's RageKageXRuger. And you can also find me on Twitch with the same, but with an X between Rage and Cage as well.
Yeah, my name is Kenny. You can find me on Twitter at PunderDrone. Follow at EQ Points for the majority of the things that I do. And if you follow me, you will get all the retweets and all the amazing things of the things that I participate in.
That would be it for this episode. Thank you all so much for following along.
Thank you so much for listening to Qmenera, an Experience Points podcast. Are your ears burning for another podcast? We cannot recommend enough checking out our sister podcast, Roll to Fail. There are 6 friends who have no business behind the mic, or even rolling dice. Stay up to date on all 3 Experience Points Network podcasts at EQ Points on Twitter and on experiencepoints.com. Pardon our dust as I continue updates on the website. Thank you so much for listening.
Come check out Dice to Roll, the gayest Pathfinder podcast on the planet, where we ask the hard questions like,
is it morally acceptable to kiss a goblin?
Are summon creatures ethically sourced?
What's the real estate value on a haunted castle?
Dice Will Roll is a show where 4 friends team up every week to play Pathfinder 2nd Edition and be hopelessly gay the whole way through. Join Dave, KK, Ritz, and me, Derry, your mythic genderfluid GM, as we play through the Kingmaker adventure path and follow a gay human bard, a lesbian half-elf druid, and a transmask half-orc fighter on their journey to build and rule their own nation in the untamed wilderness of the Stolen Lands, and defend it from bandits, monsters, and wicked fae in an Arthurian adventure like no other. From getting 4 nat 1s in a row to standing up to the darkest forces in the multiverse, Dice Will Roll is here to help you keep it rolling. Find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts.